The blaring car horns and the buzzing of motorcycle engines filled the air as the NYSC orientation camp in Abuja came into view. The sprawling camp, nestled amidst tall trees and dusty paths, was alive with activity. Adaobi stepped off the bus, her heart racing, not from fear, but from the thrill of a new beginning. The heat of the Abuja sun kissed her caramel-toned skin, highlighting her elegance as she adjusted the strap of her duffel bag. Her long black braids swayed gently, and her curvy figure, accentuated by a form-fitting white t-shirt and khaki trousers, drew a few admiring glances. But Adaobi wasn't here for attention. She was here to embrace the challenge and excitement of camp life. Fresh out of university and eager to prove herself, she felt a mix of nervousness and determination. This was her first real step away from the cocoon of her conservative Christian upbringing in Enugu, and she was ready to soar. The camp commandant, Major Dapo Alabi, was a man of imposing stature, with broad shoulders, a neatly trimmed beard, and piercing eyes that commanded respect. In his late 40s, Dapo exuded authority, but had a disarming charm. He often walked around the camp, inspecting activities, his crisp military uniform making him stand out among the sea of khaki-clad corps members. Adaobi first caught his eye during the morning parade. Her grace and elegance set her apart, even amidst hundreds of others. Later, during a camp inspection, he stopped to commend her for her leadership skills when she took charge of her platoon during a task. Their conversation started casually, but soon became more frequent and personal. Over the weeks, Adaobi and Major Dapo's relationship deepened. They shared stories about their lives during quiet moments in the camp. Adaobi spoke of her dreams of becoming a public health advocate, while Dapo shared his struggles balancing military life and family responsibilities. Dapo's compliments and encouragements filled a void Adaobi didn't know existed. She began to look forward to their conversations, even as she grappled with the morality of her feelings for a married man. For Dapo, Adaobi represented a refreshing break from his routine and a reminder of the innocence and ambitions he once had. One evening, after a particularly intense camp activity, Dapo invited Adaobi to his office under the guise of discussing her platoon's performance. The air was heavy with unspoken emotions as they talked. A moment of vulnerability led to a kiss, and what followed was a night that Adaobi would replay in her mind for weeks to come. The reality of their actions didn't hit her until she returned to her hostel. Guilt weighed heavily on her, but so did the warmth of Dapo's affection. She was torn between her faith and her feelings. Weeks later, Adaobi began feeling nauseous and fatigued. A visit to the camp clinic confirmed her fears. She was pregnant. Panic set in as she thought about her family, her career, and the scandal this could cause. She confided in her closest friend at camp, Chinyere, whose wide eyes and whispered exclamations mirrored Adaobi's own shock. Together, they debated what to do. Adaobi avoided Dapo for days, unsure of how to break the news. When Adaobi finally told Dapo, his reaction was a mix of shock and guilt. He assured her that he would take responsibility, but also confess the difficulty of the situation, given his marital status. "I'll support you, Ada, but we have to be discreet," he said, his voice laced with regret. His words offered little comfort. Adaobi felt trapped in a web of emotions and consequences. After camp, Adaobi returned home to Enugu, dreading the moment she would have to tell her parents. Her father, a stern pastor, and her mother, a devout church leader, were the epitome of conservative values. When the truth finally came out, The disappointment in their eyes was more painful than their words. Her mother wept silently while her father paced the living room, quoting scriptures on morality and chastity. They insisted she either marry Dapo or face ostracism. Adaobi felt her world crumbling. Adaobi's nights were sleepless as she wrestled with her options. Termination was against her fate, but keeping the baby could derail her career and bring shame to her family. Dapo's offers of financial support felt hollow in the face of her internal turmoil. In a moment of clarity, she decided to keep the baby, but not let the situation define her. She began researching single motherhood and support networks, determined to rise above the stigma. Months later, Adaobi held her newborn son in her arms, a mix of exhaustion and joy washing over her. Her family, though initially distant, came around to support her, realizing the strength it took to face her challenges head-on. Adaobi's story became one of resilience and hope. She found a job with a public health NGO, using her experiences to mentor young women about making informed decisions and overcoming life's hurdles.